Yes.
Pull hook in it.
Yeah. So if you missed the fairway 100 times over X number of rounds, 96 or 7 of them would be right.
That's what I try and that's why I want my miss to be
I would
right.
imagine you would occasionally hit it where it's just a low missile pull.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That
figured,
happens.
Yeah,
once a round, I'll hit
right.
dead, pull left,
Yes. It's just this high off the ground, and it
usually goes pretty far.
Yeah, it rolls out pretty good, and it doesn't get you in too much trouble because it's not curving, but it's
as long as there's not trouble left.
Yes.
If there's like a fairway over there,
Right.
I'm like, well,
Right. Okay.
just got to go over the trees.
Okay, so I've got it pegged from the photograph that I posted of you, and watching that swing. It's precisely the shot pattern I would expect. I would expect that the longer the club and the stronger the swing, the more your impacts would push towards the low heel. And you do okay with an 8-iron, 9-iron pitching wedge, but this club is, and the longer club, it starts, especially this club.
I've started setting up farther away from it because of that heel miss.
So you said McLean and Manzella both said, okay, we need more of this.
Yeah.
Okay, but they didn't go further than that.
No, it was pretty, that was mostly the focus. Jim stood behind me back here and he goes, I want you to throw that club at me. And I thought that was crazy.
Okay, so if I may try to blow your mind.
I love having my mind blown.
And well, I would hope that for the better, that it will make you. Okay, so that's the typical good one.
Yeah,
that's right center.
I'm happy with that.
I've got you at you're cooking at over 160 there, with reasonably low spin rate, 2300. Path is 1.7 to the right. Interestingly, so I think a lot of these cuts that you're sending down the left side are a little bit heely.
Sure.
And a little spinny, from what I can tell by the ball flight. They're a little bit climby.
Could be, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
That one was pretty flat. So there you're at 107 club and 161 ball. So you're.
That's a decent smash factor.
Yeah. You're 1.50.
I'm just warming up, boss.
Yeah, 1.50. But we got that one out to like 292. So that's
a good ball on the course.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Attack angle is minus 0.4.
Really? Holy cow.
Yeah. Face angle is minus 0.6, and yet you faded it. So that would tell us that it's slightly heely.
Okay.
So the club face is slightly closed, ever so slightly closed. If they were even, you'd figure the ball would go straight.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, it means it's indicating a miss hit towards the heel, twisted the face shut. So probably a 1/4 of an inch from impact, that club face was probably real close to where that ball finished. Probably 2.5 degrees open. And then the impact with the slightly towards the heel kind of twisted it closed, giving it a minus 0.6. So there's a little bit of a heel hit. Even on a shot to my ear, sounded flush in the center and flew with very little spin. Even that had a little bit of heel to it.
Really?
So let's add, because there's the advice you got is super genius, of course. I wonder if they were missing a piece, either through trying to be simple, to get maybe that your body would just figure out the other piece. But I feel like there's a piece missing. I want to show you something.
Yeah?
I'm going to grab this guy.
All right, I can't wait
to
hear
So if you remember the photo, and why don't we go back after we've done shooting this, and we will grab that photo off of Twitter and post it, the one that I said, this is interesting. Remember that? Okay.
The gross swing.
You said, boy, is that ugly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, no, because you're on the course. And I'd be like, partner, smoked it down the fairway, partner. Nothing's ugly. Nothing's ugly that goes down the fairway when we're playing a match. Just move out of the way a little bit. I'm going to move this in here. And go ahead and set up to your next driver, and let's figure out how to custom fit. That's your comfort zone right there, pretty close?
Yeah, so I told you I heel it, so I've been standing a little further away. So this is right on my edge.
That would be exactly what my dad would say to do. It's like, well, if you're hitting it in the toe, you might move a little closer. And if it's completely the logical thing to do, isn't it? And yet, I don't think that's it. So let me show you another dimension here.
Yeah.
That I think without this missing piece, I don't think you can follow their advice. It just is not possible.
I don't think
it's possible. So let me show you this. Okay, so here is the arc. We're leaving this as an arc for the handle to come on through. Right. Now this is what essentially they were trying to get you to do.
Yes.
I'm forcing you via the noodle. I'm taking I'm taking your alternatives away from you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
With this noodle. So in other words, we're defining boundaries or limitations like in mathematics. You've got your boundaries, right, in an equation. Okay, go ahead and set up to that again. You're starting at bent over at about a 20-degree angle, but you've lost most of that. So you've separated from the chair. So let's see what that would look like, only we're going to do that more major than even you do it.
Oh.
Now, fit that inside the noodle now. It's not happening.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yes.
So as you create that space, and your head will go up and back to keep its balance too, because like Mike would say, your skull weighs as much as your two butt cheeks, so they counter each other. So if your pelvis is going to move forward, your head's going to move up and back to. It has, because you're so balanced that you can count on it being about the same distance. Other people, I teach, this guy, for example, he pushes so much forward, he doesn't have your sense of balance from all the history of doing balancing things you've done in your whole life. You have an uncanny knack for equilibrium, finding equilibrium. Most people end up taking a little step to keep from falling on their nose. But you can see this sacred space right here has been occupied by the pelvis. Therefore, the handle end of the stick has to reroute straighter ahead and not around the curve enough. So without that move, keeping this space opened up, that handle is never coming around to the left no matter how hard you try. You can get it to some extent if you really force it, but it'll never feel natural. And so when that sucker stays back, which is to me absolutely something Hogan did.
Yeah, it's a huge missing piece for me.
He always appeared to my eye, and you're the expert on this, so you tell me if what I'm talking about sounds right. He appeared to be fairly straight at address. I always wanted to say about maybe 15 degrees of bow. But by the time he got here, he had almost doubled that, especially like on iron swings and stuff. He was really kind of increased it right in his transition. He kind of stuck his butt out. So his butt actually would have lifted this chair off the ground. And so he could drive a truck right through this arc, basically like that. So that was what I was going to suggest is, now remember what we see in that picture and what's likely the cause of all your shot pattern. Instead of this club coming through like this, 6 inches from impact, your club is probably likely like this.
Okay. Interesting.
It's like this, and so you have your heel propensity. If you do flush it, you'll probably leave the face open and miss it right, but very solidly. And of course, the picture I posted looks like this. So a lot of twist over to the shaft. well, it exits a little more straight up towards the second baseman rather than into left field like McLean and Manzella quoted to you.
So when I was talking to you about working on this,
that can't be done until this end of the stick corroborates with that.
Okay.
You have to add this, otherwise you're in the next fairway over.
Right.
You have to add this. So that's where I caught you hitting a fade out of a club face that looked like that.
That's not very efficient.
It's well, it's potentially inconsistent.
Yeah.
It'd be the type of thing where I'd say, you head over to the little course, I call it the little course at Brookside, and you go shoot 66. 2 consecutive days. You're feeling like, oh, I don't need any advice from anybody. I'm awesome. And then you shoot 78, and that course is not hard and it's not long. You just,
there's nothing more. There's only the third hole is maybe an 8-iron.
Right.
Every other par
But
4
that
is
would
a
be
wedge.
what I would expect your score pattern to be. Would be birdie, 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 par, birdie, double bogey, or good 9, bad 9.
Have you been looking at my cards?
Binoculars.
Because that's it drives me bananas.
It's the inconsistency.
I will have that. I'll get it going, and I'll be feeling on top of the world, and then there's that wild miss at the wrong time,
and then you're guessing,
and then it's like,
then you're guessing,
and it takes me 4 holes.
Yeah, and so you end up 5 over through 4 holes in a stretch.
Like, man, I just blew.
You started birdie,
Yeah, exactly.
You make the turn 39, and then you shoot 40 on the back, and you can't find it the whole back 9, and everything's kind of and you're like, God, I just shot 66 yesterday. What?
It's so frustrating.
That is very frustrating. I believe this is at the heart of the whole thing. So hop on there again. What we'll do is we'll see if we can catch a couple slow-mo videos. Now you just have to hit the first couple 200. Just gently dink them. Let me see you set up so I can see where we're at again. Okay, so you're in Vegas. You're at the golf swing gambling table. Gambling on what you can do with your golf swing. And to win it's $100 a swing. All you have to do is keep your rump from leaving that chair. You got to stay in contact and not hit the electric fence. Where you'll hit it will be right thumb, right wrist. So you just have to dink one with a half a swing.
It's okay if I
No, you're not allowed to.
I don't want to touch it, right?
You lose the bet if you touch it.
As long as I keep my tail back.
Keep your tail back and miss the noodle, you win $100 every time. Now what's interesting about this, what would you guess that speed was at?
102.
102 is exactly right. So interestingly, your path, remember it was about 1.9 into out before. So
yeah. Wow.
It's moved a little left, but your angle of attack, you're above, I call it above water now. Before your path was a bigger number rightwards than your angle of attack was upwards. Now you're above water. What this is telling me already is that you're getting more response from the club head coming around the handle to square up because the handle path is more causing it to kick. So if it's causing it to kick, it's causing it to reach the bottom of the arc sooner, turn upwards, and square up.
Fascinating.
Square up easier without having to twist it as much.
So that's crazy. So that's a 280 total with a little dinker swing?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
So more efficient distance, you will get higher launch, lower spin.
I don't need to try and move the ball up or anything?
Not for now. Keep it simple for now. What was your launch angle there? Your launch angle there.
you.